The phone hit the wall before Amara Jackson even realized she had thrown it. It cracked against the plaster, bounced once, and landed screen up on the carpet, still lit, still showing the notification that had wrecked her. Congratulations, Destiny Carter, on your new role as regional manager. 42 comments already. Fire emojis. Clapping hands. Her own name was not among them because she could not make herself type it. Amara stood in the middle of her childhood bedroom, chest heaving, with 3 framed certificates on the wall behind her. Summa Cum Laude, Dean's List, and Valedictorian. All of them staring down at her like accusations. She had graduated 8 months ago. 8 months of applications. 8 months of silence. And Destiny. The same Destiny she had tutored through statistics at 2 in the morning. The same Destiny who cried on her shoulder the week before finals because she thought she was going to fail out. That same Destiny just got promoted to regional manager at a company that never even called Amara back for an interview. If you have ever watched someone you helped get further than you, faster than you, while you did everything right and still got nothing, stay with this story, because it is about to get a lot more painful before it gets better. And if that is you right now, hit subscribe before you keep watching, drop a comment telling me where you're watching from, and like this video, because what happens to Amara next is going to make you want to talk about it. Amara picked the phone up off the carpet. The screen was cracked now, a spiderweb running straight through Destiny's smiling profile picture. She almost laughed. It felt appropriate. Her mother's voice came up the stairs. Amara, baby, are you good up there? I'm fine, Mama, Amara called back, and her voice came out steadier than she felt. She wasn't fine. She had submitted 211 applications since May. Her spreadsheet glowed on the screen when she opened it. 6 green cells for interviews. Maybe 30 yellow ones for pending that were really just red pretending to still have hope. And then the red itself. Rejections and ghosts, a tide of it running almost the length of the sheet. Her finger hovered over the newest red cell for a second before she closed the laptop. She sat down at her desk and opened her laptop because some sick part of her needed to see the post again. Needed to reread the comments like picking at a wound. Destiny Carter, 23 years old, was hired at a marketing firm in her 2nd month out of school because her uncle knew somebody and was promoted twice in 8 months, while Amara graduated top of her class in finance and business administration and could not get a call back from a bank teller position. She remembered the nights she had spent in Destiny's dorm room, whiteboard covered in regression formulas, walking her through problem after problem while Destiny cried and said, "I don't know what I'd do without you, Amara. You're going to run this world one day. Watch." Amara closed the laptop harder than she meant to. Downstairs, her mother, Gloria Jackson, was pulling cornbread out of the oven when Amara came down looking for water she didn't actually want, just an excuse to move her body somewhere other than that room. "You look like you've seen a ghost," Gloria said, setting the pan on the stove. "Destiny got promoted again," Amara said flatly. Gloria didn't even turn around right away. She said. "That's good for her." "It's good for her," Amara repeated, and something in her voice cracked open. "It's always good for somebody else, Mama. I have applied to 211 jobs. 211. I graduated top of my class. I tutored half of Clark Atlanta's business school. I wrote Destiny's cover letter. I wrote Malik's resume. I practiced interview questions with Jasmine for 3 weeks straight before she got hired at that consulting firm. And I'm sitting here in my mama's kitchen still waiting on somebody to call me back for anything." Gloria set down her oven slowly. "Baby, come sit down." "I don't want to sit down," Amara said, and her voice was rising now, echoing off the kitchen tile. "I want to know why. Why did I do everything right? Why did I stay up studying while they partied? Why didn't I skip internships that didn't pay so I could keep my GPA perfect? Why did I lead prayer group every single week? Why did I do all of it if this is what I get? Nothing. While everybody I poured into is out there living their best life." The kitchen went quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator. Gloria finally spoke, arms crossed now. "You finished?" Amara wiped her face, not realizing until that moment that she was crying. "No," she said. "I'm not finished. I'm tired, Mama. I'm tired of being happy for everybody else's blessings while mine sit somewhere collecting dust. I'm tired of people asking me what I'm doing now like it's a joke. I'm tired of church folks smiling in my face on Sunday, asking have I found anything yet. In that tone, you know the tone like they already know the answer and just want to watch my face when I say no. Gloria walked over and took her daughter's face in both hands, the way she used to when Amara was small. Baby, she said, everybody's blessing has a different time stamp on it. That doesn't mean yours isn't coming. Amara pulled back. That's what you always say. Everybody's blessing has a different time. Well, when, Mama? When is mine? Because Destiny's is right now. Malik's is right now. Jasmine's is right now. Mine has been never, for 8 straight months. She grabbed her mother's car keys off the counter before her mother could answer, and walked out the front door into the evening heat, leaving Gloria standing alone in the kitchen with cornbread going cold behind her. Amara drove without a destination for almost 20 minutes before she realized she was heading toward the church, toward Wednesday night Bible study, out of pure muscle memory more than desire. She almost turned around in the parking lot. Almost. But something, some thread she couldn't name, pulled her out of the car and through the side door. Inside, folding chairs were arranged in a loose circle, maybe 15 people scattered through them, and at the front, an older woman named Odette Freeman was already speaking, her Bible open on her lap, reading glasses low on her nose. Odette Freeman had been a deaconess at that church for 31 years. She had buried husband, raised 4 children alone for stretch of that, and built a small catering business from nothing after being laid off twice in her 40s, back when she said tomatoes from her own garden tasted like money because it was all she had to put on the table some weeks. People in that congregation called her Mother Freeman, and when Mother Freeman spoke, even teenagers stopped scrolling their phones. Amara slid into a chair near the back, arms crossed, jaw tight. Odette was reading from Genesis, chapter 37, the story of Joseph and his brothers, and she looked up right as Amara sat down, like she had been expecting her. Y'all know the story, Odette said. Joseph, favorite son, coat of many colors, has these dreams about his brothers bowing down to him one day. And what do his brothers do? They sell him, someone in the circle offered. They sell him, Odette repeated. Their own brother. Same blood, same daddy, and they throw him in a pit, and then sell him into slavery because they can't stand watching him be favored. And here's what I want y'all to sit with tonight. Joseph didn't do anything wrong. He wasn't lazy. He wasn't foolish. He had the gift. He had the dream, he had the character, and none of that stopped him from ending up in a pit. Amara felt her throat tighten. And it gets worse before it gets better, Odette continued. He goes from the pit to Potiphar's house, does everything right there too, gets falsely accused, and ends up in prison. In prison, he helps a man interpret a dream, telling him, "Hey, remember me when you get out." And that man forgets him. Doesn't just forget him for a week. Genesis says 2 whole years pass. 2 years in a cell forgotten, after doing exactly the right thing. Somebody in the circle murmured, Odette closed the Bible partway, keeping her finger in the page. Now I want to ask you something, and this is for whoever needs it tonight. Do you think Joseph's brothers felt guilty during those years? You think they lost sleep? Baby, they were living their lives. They had families, they had flocks. They had land. Meanwhile, Joseph is sitting in a cell that isn't even his fault, watching other men get their freedom while he stays stuck. Amara's hands were shaking in her lap. Odette looked directly at her now, and it wasn't an accident. Some of y'all in here tonight are Joseph, she said. You did everything right. You help people who are already walking through doors that haven't opened for you yet. And you're sitting here asking God why when the real question isn't why. It's what he is building in you while you wait. Amara stood up so fast the metal chair screeched against the floor. I'm sorry, she said and walked straight back out the side door before anyone could stop her. Outside in the parking lot, under a single flickering streetlight, she pressed her back against her car and let herself slide down until she was sitting on the pavement, and she finally let out everything she had been holding in all day, all these months, in one long, ugly, gasping cry. That right there, that parking lot moment, that is the lowest point in this story so far, and if you've ever sat in your own version of that parking lot, questioning everything, Comment below and tell me what your pit looked like. Subscribe if you want to see how Amara claws her way out of hers, because it does not happen the way she expects. Her phone buzzed against the concrete beside her. A text from Malik Thompson, another friend from school, another person she'd helped, this one with his business plan for a small logistics startup that she had basically written for him during their senior year. The text read, "Yo Amara, guess what? We just closed our first big contract. Thanks for believing in this thing early. I wouldn't have made it without you." Then a second text right after, sent too fast, like he'd typed it before thinking it through. "You still looking for work? I might have something small for you at the company if you're interested. Entry level though, lol." Entry level. At his company. The company built on the plan she wrote. Amara stared at the screen for a long time before typing back, "No thanks, I'm good. Congrats though," and hitting send with more force than the message deserved. She sat in that parking lot until the flickering streetlight finally gave up entirely and left her in the D. 3 weeks past. Amara took a job at a call center downtown, answering customer complaints for a telecom company. 40 minutes each way in traffic, headset digging into her ear for 8 hours a day while strangers screamed at her about their internet bills. It paid $14 an hour. She had a finance degree with honors and a 4.0, sitting in a cubicle repeating the phrase, "I understand your frustration, ma'am. Let me see what I can do," over and over until the word stopped meaning anything. Arc. Her supervisor, a woman named Renee Boston, noticed her within the first 2 weeks. The way she handled escalated calls and the way she reorganized the team's ticket tracking spreadsheet without being asked, cutting resolution time by almost a third. "You could be running this floor," Renee told her one afternoon in the break room. "Why are you even here?" "Because nobody else called me back," Amara said, and she meant it as a joke, but it came out flat and true instead. Renee promoted her to team lead within 6 weeks. It was something. It wasn't nothing. But every time Amara logged onto LinkedIn on her lunch break, there was another post. Jasmine Reeves, promoted to a mid-level consultant. Destiny Carter, featured in a local business journal as one of 30 under 30. Malik Thompson's logistics company signing a contract with a Fortune 500 client. She started avoiding the app altogether for a while, until one night her cousin tagged her in a group chat with a screenshot of Destiny's latest post, a photo from some rooftop event with the city skyline behind her, and a caption reading, "Grateful doesn't even cover it. God is so good. Watch what he does with those who stay faithful." Amara read that caption 4 times. Faithful. Destiny, who missed church every single Sunday since junior year, talking about staying faithful, while Amara, who had led prayer group every week for 3 years straight, sat unemployed in her childhood bedroom for 8 months before finally settling for $14 an hour. She called her friend Jasmine that night, the one person from the old group she still talked to regularly, mostly out of habit more than closeness anymore. Jasmine picked up on the third ring. The background noise of a nice apartment, maybe a television, maybe a roommate laughing somewhere. "Hey, girl," Jasmine said. "What's up? Did you see Destiny's post?" Amara asked, sitting on the edge of her bed. Jasmine laughed, a little too easily. "Girl, yes, she's doing amazingly. Isn't that crazy? Like remember when she almost failed stats?" "I remember," Amara said. "I'm the one who taught her stats." "Right," Jasmine said, and there was a pause, a small one, but Amara caught it. "Anyway, how's the job hunt going for you?" "Still nothing?" "Still nothing," Amara said. "I'm at a call center now. Team lead." "Oh," Jasmine said. "That's good though, right?" "That's something." "It's $14 an hour," Amara said. "I have a 4.0. There was another pause, longer this time, and then Jasmine said, carefully, almost too carefully, "You know, sometimes I wonder if it's like a mindset thing. Like maybe you're putting out the wrong energy or something. I read this book about manifestation, and it really changed how doors opened for me." Amara sat perfectly still, the phone hot against her ear. "A mindset thing," she repeated. "I'm just saying," Jasmine said quickly, "like, you're smart. Everyone knows you're smart. Maybe it's just about believing it more, you know?" Amara felt something inside her chest go cold and very quiet. "I have to go," she said, and hung up before Jasmine could respond. The turn came 2 Sundays later, at church, of all places. It was a homecoming service, the sanctuary packed, and the pastor, Reverend Isaiah Beckham, had invited several young members of the congregation up front to share testimonies about their career journeys as an encouragement for the graduating seniors sitting in the front pews. Destiny went first, radiant in a cream-colored dress, thanking God, thanking her mentors, and thanking the congregation for their prayers, and the church erupted in applause. Malik went next, talking about faith and risk, and stepping out on nothing but a promise. More applause, more amens. Then Reverend Beckham looked out into the congregation and said, "Amara Jackson, I know you graduated top of your class too. Come on up here and share a word with these young people." The entire sanctuary turned to look at her. Amara felt her stomach drop straight through the floor. She hadn't prepared anything. She hadn't expected this. She stood slowly, smoothed her dress, and walked to the front, feeling every eye in that building on her, feeling the specific weight of knowing that everyone there had watched her friends celebrate while she remained unemployed, well, underemployed, for the better part of a year. She stood at the podium. The silence stretched a beat too long. "I graduated top of my class in May," she started, her voice a little unsteady. "I've applied to over 200 jobs since then." A ripple went through the crowd, not unkind exactly, but not comfortable either. "I don't have a testimony about a promotion yet," she continued. "I'm working at a call center right now. I lead a team there. It's not what I planned for myself, but I'm doing my best in it." She could see people shifting in their seats. She could see, 3 rows back, a woman lean over and whisper something to the person next to her, and though she couldn't hear the words, she saw the way they both glanced at her, and then quickly looked away, and something about that glance, that specific pitying, gossiping glance, made her chest burn. She said, and her voice cracked, "and I don't really have a neat bow to put on this. I'm still waiting. I don't know what God is doing with the wait, but I'm still here." She stepped down from the podium into silence that felt heavier than applause ever could, and walked back to her seat while Reverend Beckham said something gracious and smooth to cover the awkward pause, something about how all of our journeys look different, and the service moved on. After service, in the fellowship hall, over paper plates of fried chicken and macaroni, Amara overheard 2 older women near the punch bowl, not bothering to lower their voices much. "That poor Jackson girl," one of them said. "Valedictorian and working at a call center. Something must be wrong. Maybe she's not praying like she used to," the other one said. "You know how it is. Sometimes the anointing leaves if you're not walking right." Amara set her plate down on the nearest table so hard the fork bounced off onto the floor, and she walked straight out to her car without saying goodbye to anyone, without collecting her mother, without anything except the roaring in her own ears. She sat in the driver's seat, engine off, hands gripping the steering wheel until her knuckles went pale, and she said out loud, to no one, to the empty car, to God, maybe, if he was even listening anymore, "What did I do? Tell me what I did wrong. I served you. I served them. And they think I lost my anointing because I don't have a corner office yet." Nothing answered her, of course. Just the tick of the cooling engine and the distant sound of the fellowship hall doors opening and closing as families filed out into the parking lot, laughing, talking about lunch plans, completely unaware that 20 feet away, a young woman was quietly falling apart. That night at home, Amara did something she hadn't done in weeks. She opened her Bible, not out of devotion exactly, more out of desperation, flipping without direction until she landed, coincidentally or not, on Genesis again, the chapters right after where Mother Freeman had left off weeks earlier. She read about Joseph in Potiphar's house, favored again, put in charge of everything, doing well, only to be falsely accused by Potiphar's wife and thrown into prison for something he never did. She read about him interpreting dreams for the cupbearer and the baker while locked away, and how he asked the cupbearer, "When you get out, please remember me, mention me to Pharaoh, and get me out of this place." And then she read the next line, the one that had haunted preachers for centuries. The chief cupbearer did not remember Joseph. He forgot him. Amara read it 3 times. Forgot him. After everything. After Joseph used his gift to help the man, sincerely expecting nothing but a mention, a word, a door cracked open, and the man walked free and simply forgot he existed. For 2 years. She set the Bible down on her lap and stared at the ceiling of her bedroom for a long time. 2 years, she said out loud. 2 years. He sat there after doing the right thing, watching somebody he helped walk out free and never look back. Something about saying it out loud, matching it to her own 211 applications and 8 months and Destiny's rooftop photos and Jasmine's mindset comment and Malik's entry-level job offer at the company she basically built for him. Something about seeing her own story mapped so precisely onto an ancient one cracked something open in her chest that wasn't rage this time. It was grief. Clean and simple. Grief for the version of herself who thought doing everything right meant getting everything on time. The next morning, Amara called in to work sick, which she never did, and drove instead to Mother Freeman's house, a small brick home with a wraparound porch and a garden out front that always smelled like tomatoes and rosemary no matter the season. Odette answered the door in a housecoat, unsurprised, like she'd been expecting company. "Well," she said, "come on in, baby." They sat at Odette's kitchen table, a pot of coffee between them, and Amara told her everything. The phone against the wall. Destiny's promotion. Malik's job offer. Jasmine's mindset comment. The 2 women at the punch bowl. The testimony at the front of the church that landed like a stone in still water. Odette listened without interrupting once, her hands wrapped around her coffee mug, her eyes steady on Amara's face the whole time. When Amara finished, out of breath, out of tears even, just hollowed out and quiet, Odette finally spoke. "You know what nobody tells you about Joseph's story," she said, "is that his gift was never the problem. His gift is what got him thrown in the pit in the first place. His brothers hated him because of the dream, because of what God showed him about his future. The very thing that was going to save his family one day is the exact thing that got him sold into slavery to start with." Amara wiped her eyes. "So what? My gift is the problem." "No, baby," Odette said gently. "Your gift was never the problem. The timeline is not the same as the promise. You hear me? God telling you something is coming does not mean it's coming on your friend's schedule, or your church's schedule, or the schedule you built in your head the day you walked across that stage in your cap and gown." "Then why," Amara said, voice breaking again, "why did he let me help all of them get there faster? Why does it feel like I built the ladder and everybody else is the one climbing it?" Odette set her mug down. "Because you weren't building it for them," she said. "You were building it within yourself. Every time you tutored somebody, every time you wrote a resume, every time you led that prayer group when you were tired and didn't feel like showing up, you were becoming somebody. Skills, character, patience, and wisdom. That doesn't disappear just because somebody else got their harvest first." Joseph spent 13 years between the dream and the palace. 13 years, Amara. Sold at 17, elevated at 30. You've been waiting 8 months, and you're ready to burn the whole field down. Amara let out a short, wet laugh despite herself. 13 years. 13 years, Odette repeated. "And you know what he said to his brothers when he finally saw them again? The same ones who sold him? He said, 'You meant it for evil, but God meant it for good.' He didn't say it was fair. He didn't say it didn't hurt. He said God used it anyway." They sat in silence for a moment, steam rising off the coffee between them. "I don't know how to stop being angry," Amara admitted quietly. "I don't know how to watch them keep winning and not feel like something's broken in me." Odette reached across the table and took her hand. "Then don't stop being angry today," she said. "But don't let the anger decide what you do with your hands while you wait." Joseph kept working. In the pit, in Potiphar's house, in the prison. He didn't sit around waiting to be rescued. He served wherever he was planted, and God used exactly that faithfulness to position him for the exact right room at the exact right time. Amara left Odette's house that afternoon without a solution, without a job offer, without anything resolved on paper, but something inside her had shifted, quiet and small, like a key turning in a lock she hadn't known was there. If you feel that shift too, even a small one, drop a comment with the word key and hit that like button, because the next part of Amara's story is where everything she's been planting in silence finally starts to grow. Over the following months, Amara did something different. She stopped scrolling LinkedIn during her lunch breaks. She stopped comparing her spreadsheet of 200+ rejections to anyone else's timeline. Instead, on weekends, she started something small, almost embarrassingly small at first, a free online study group for young students preparing for finance and business certification exams. Something she built simply because she remembered what it felt like to need help and not have anyone who understood the material well enough to explain it right. She posted about it once in a local community group, expecting maybe 5 people to show interest. 43 people joined within the first week. She ran the sessions on Saturday mornings from her bedroom, laptop propped on a stack of textbooks, walking students through concepts the same patient way she used to walk destiny through statistics, except this time, she wasn't doing it to help someone else win a race she felt locked out of. She was doing it because it was who she was, because teaching had always felt like breathing to her, and because Odette's words kept circling back. Don't stop being faithful just because the harvest is late. One of the students in her group, a quiet young man named Cedric, mentioned in passing one Saturday that his older sister worked in talent acquisition at a mid-sized investment firm downtown, one that Amara had actually applied to back in June and never heard back from. She didn't think much of it at the time. She kept teaching, kept showing up. 3 weeks later, Cedric messaged her outside of group hours. "Hey, Ms. Amara, I told my sister about how you've been helping all of us for free every week, breaking down stuff way better than our actual professors did, honestly. She said her firm has an opening on the analytics team, and she wants to know if you'd let her pass your resume along directly, like personally vouch for you." Amara read the message twice, sitting on the edge of her bed, the same room, the same cracked phone screen from that first terrible night, though the crack had spread further across the glass by now, a permanent scar she'd never bothered fixing. She typed back, "Yes, please. Thank you so much," and then sat there for a long moment afterwards, feeling something she hadn't let herself feel in almost a year. Not hope exactly. Something quieter and sturdier than hope. Something closer to trust. The interview process took 5 weeks, several rounds of technical assessments and behavioral interviews, each one more rigorous than the last. She almost didn't make it to the final round at all. An email nearly slipped past her because her phone had glitched and delayed the notification by 2 full days, and she found it only by accident while searching her inbox for something unrelated. That near miss alone nearly broke her all over again. The fear of coming this close only to lose it to a technical glitch, and she called Odette in a panic the night she found the delayed email, her voice shaking. "What if I missed the window?" she said. "What if it's already gone to somebody else?" Odette, calm as ever, simply said, "Then you email them tonight, explain what happened, and trust that if this is your door, no glitch on earth can close it before it's time." Amara sent that email at 11:40 at night, hands trembling over the keyboard, and did not sleep more than 2 hours waiting for a reply. The reply came the next morning at 9:17. The interview was still open. They rescheduled her final round for that Friday. If you think that glitch was just bad luck and not something bigger circling around Amara in this exact moment, stick around, because what happens on that Friday interview is the moment this entire story has been building toward, and I promise you it is worth the wait. Friday came. Amara sat in the lobby of the firm's downtown office, 22 floors up, glass walls looking out over the city, wearing the same blazer she'd worn to every interview that year, the one with a small coffee stain near the cuff that she'd learned to angle away from cameras and handshakes alike. She was called in by a director named Patricia Whitfield, sharp suit, sharper eyes, the kind of woman who clearly did not waste time on pleasantries. Patricia flipped through Amara's resume without looking up for the first full minute. Then she said, without preamble, "Tell me about this study group you run." "It's not on your resume. My colleague mentioned it." Amara's throat tightened for a second before she found her footing. "It's a free certification prep group," she said. "I started it because I remembered how hard it was to find good, patient explanations when I was studying, and I didn't want other students to feel as alone as I did." "How many students?" Patricia asked. "It started with 43, Amara said. "It's over 160 now." Patricia finally looked up. And you've been doing this for free. This whole time you were unemployed. Underemployed, Amara corrected gently. I work at a call center. Team lead there. Patricia set the resume down flat on the table between them, pulled out her phone, and turned the screen around. It was a screenshot, one of Amara's own study group posts, forwarded to her that morning by the colleague whose sister sat in that group every Saturday. My colleague's sister sent me this before I even walked in here, Patricia said. Said you stayed 40 minutes late last week walking her through amortization schedules because she was too embarrassed to ask twice. You know what most candidates I interview have? Internships. Connections. Some of them have both and nothing underneath. What you have is 160 strangers who trust you enough to show up every single Saturday morning to learn from someone with, forgive me, no formal teaching credential, purely because you're good at explaining things and you clearly care whether they succeed. Amara didn't know what to say, so she said nothing and waited. That's not something I can train into somebody, Patricia said. That's character. We can teach technical skills. We cannot teach that. 2 days later, on a Sunday morning, Amara's phone rang while she was getting dressed for church. She almost didn't pick it up, thinking it was spam, an unfamiliar downtown area code. She answered anyway. Ms. Jackson, Patricia Whitfield's voice said, crisp and businesslike as ever. We'd like to offer you the analytics position. Full-time, benefits starting immediately, and frankly, given what I saw in that final round, I'm recommending you for an accelerated review at the 6-month mark instead of the standard year. Amara stood frozen in the middle of her bedroom floor, phone pressed so hard to her ear it almost hurt, and it took her a full 3 seconds to find her voice enough to say, thank you. Thank you so much. Yes. Absolutely, yes. She hung up the phone and stood completely still for a moment, and then she did something she hadn't done in longer than she could remember. She dropped to her knees right there on the bedroom carpet, the same carpet the phone had cracked against all those months ago, and she cried. But it was a different kind of crying this time, the kind that comes out of your whole chest at once because it's finally safe to let go. Her mother found her like that a few minutes later, having heard something through the floor, and rushed in expecting the worst. Amara, baby, what's wrong? Gloria said, kneeling beside her. Amara looked up, face wet, and started laughing through the tears. Mama, she said. I got the job. The one at the firm downtown. Analytics team. Full-time. Benefits. They want to fast-track my review. Gloria pulled her daughter into her arms right there on the bedroom floor and held her the way she used to when Amara was small, rocking slightly, saying nothing at first, just holding on. Finally, Gloria pulled back, held Amara's face in both hands, same as she had that night 8 months earlier in the kitchen, and said, see what I told you. Everybody's blessing has a different timestamp. Amara laughed and cried at the same time. I remember hating you for saying that. I know you did, Gloria said, smiling. But it was still true. Word spread quickly in their small circle. Destiny texted first a string of exclamation points and a message that read, Girl, I heard the news. So proud of you. Told you it was coming. Amara stared at that message for a long time before responding, remembering the 8 months of silence while everyone else celebrated, and remembering, too, that Destiny had never once asked her how she was actually doing during any of it. She typed back, thank you, that means a lot, and left it there, no further explanation owed, but something in her chest loosened just slightly at the honesty. Jasmine called a few days later, and this time Amara answered, but with a different posture entirely, not bitter, just clear-eyed. I heard, Jasmine said. That's amazing. Congratulations. Thank you, Amara said. I guess the mindset thing worked out after all, huh? Jasmine said, half laughing, clearly trying to smooth over the memory of that earlier conversation. Amara paused and then said, gently but firmly, it wasn't about mindset, Jasmine. It was never about mindset. I did everything right the whole time, and it still took 8 months of no's before one yes came through. That's not a mindset problem. That's just how some doors open. Different time for different people. Jasmine went quiet on the other end for a moment. Yeah, she said finally. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry I said that. Honestly. I think I just didn't know what to say back then. Sometimes the truth is enough, Amara said. You didn't have to fix it. You just had to sit with me in it. Malik never brought up the entry-level offer again, and Amara never mentioned it either, though she noticed, months later, that his company started crediting her name publicly as a founding advisor on their materials, a quiet correction nobody explained out loud, the kind of thing you only notice if you're paying attention. 6 months into the new job, exactly as Patricia had promised, Amara sat across from her at the review table, and Patricia slid a folder across to her without ceremony. We're moving you up, Patricia said. Mid-level analyst position, effective next pay period. The team lead role opens up in about a year, and I want you positioned for it when it does. Amara thanked her, professional and composed on the outside, though inside she felt something settle into place, quiet and certain, the way a key finally fits a lock after being turned the wrong way for so long you'd forgotten what the right way even felt like. That Saturday, in her weekly study group, now grown to nearly 200 members and moved to a small rented community room because her bedroom could no longer hold it, a young woman named Alicia Freeman, no relation to Odette, though the name always made Amara smile a little, stayed behind after the session ended. Alicia was 22, freshly graduated, and had been job hunting for 4 months already, watching her own friends land roles while she waited. I don't understand it, Alicia said, packing her notebook slowly, clearly working up the courage to say more. I did everything right. Top of my class. Internships. I helped everybody in my cohort with their resumes. And now they're all working, and I'm still here. Amara sat down across from her, remembering, vividly, a cracked phone screen, a kitchen argument with her mother, and a parking lot cry under a flickering streetlight. She said, I know exactly how that feels. But you got here, Alicia said. You're proof that it works out. Amara shook her head slowly. It's not that it works out on a schedule that makes sense, she said. It's that everybody's blessing has a different timestamp. Joseph's brothers got their harvest early and easily. His came late, and it cost him years of pain to get there. But when it finally came, it was big enough to save an entire nation, including the very brothers who sold him. Don't measure your winter by somebody else's summer. Do the work in the dark that you'd want to be known for in the light, and trust that the delay is not the same thing as denial. Alicia sat with that for a moment, eyes glassy. How did you get through it? She asked. The waiting part. I didn't get through it alone, Amara admitted. I had somebody speak that truth over me before I could believe it myself. Now I get to be that for you. She reached over and squeezed Alicia's hand. Your storehouse is coming, Amara said. It might not look like your friend's storehouse. It might not open on their calendar. But it's coming, and when it opens it's going to be exactly what you need, at exactly the right time, no earlier and no later. Amara Jackson did not become a regional manager in 8 months like Destiny. She did not close a Fortune 500 contract in her first year like Malik. Her storehouse opened slower, later, through a call center cubicle and a free Saturday study group, and a near-missed email, and a director who valued character over connections. But when it opened wide, and it opened solid, built on 8 months of quiet faithfulness that nobody applauded at the time. She kept a small note taped inside her work laptop from that point forward, written in her own handwriting, words she never let herself forget again. Everybody's blessing has a different timestamp. Yours is coming. Stay faithful while you wait. Somewhere in a dorm room 2 states away, Alicia Freeman taped an identical note inside her own laptop 3 weeks later, the day she finally got her own call back, and the story kept moving forward the way these stories always do, one faithful, waiting heart passing the truth on to the next. That's the story of Joseph's sister, a story of delayed destiny. If it spoke to you, tell me in the comments what season you're in right now. Waiting, breaking through, or maybe you're the one who's already made it and needs to go be an Odette Freeman for somebody else today. Hit that subscribe button, tap like on your way out, and I will see you in the next one.